San Francisco, Florida, Todd Golden, who used to coach at San Francisco, by the way. He's kind of in his old stomping grounds before he
Yeah.
got that job in Gainesville. They go up against the Maryland Terrapins, a team you just saw out in, where were they? Seattle.
Yes, Seattle.
Seattle. Wow, they're up. I wonder, Kevin Willard could have
They
just
were
stayed out
staying.
west.
They were staying west. Yeah, they didn't go home.
So give me your thoughts because Florida has not played great in this tournament so far.
Yep.
UConn did play well. They played very well against them, but the Gators haven't looked phenomenal. Even against Norfolk State, they weren't dominant. They were dominant the first like 10 minutes. And
I
after
love that
that,
you said they haven't played well and they won the SEC tournament and they've won like
no,
14
the
of
last
15
two
games.
games.
Okay, no, that's fair. But UConn like is so well coached and has the pedigree, and I'm not surprised to see that was a close game. I'm really not.
I picked Florida to win the whole thing. And I guess that's my take here. It's like, they haven't played, they haven't looked the part of a
They
team.
haven't looked like that. Yeah.
Correct. They haven't been like they were the last month
Well,
of the regular
but the end of the game, Jeff, when you need dudes to be dudes. Well, and I didn't get to watch a lot. I did have it on while I was doing stuff, but Walter Clayton and some of the shot making
season. He's a
was just, I
stud.
mean, this is like so high level.
Dude,
It's so high level.
that three off the on the move was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No, it
That's an
was.
NBA shot.
It totally is. It totally is. And then, you think about just the way, whether it's their offense with the shooting, the guard play, the rebounding, I just think they're one of those elite teams that can beat you in a number of ways. If they're hot, they certainly will beat you. If they're not, they still get second chance opportunities. Their defense is top 15 in the country. I you'd want to play better. I'm not surprised that UConn put up that type of fight just because of what they've been. But yeah, Florida is they're just scary. How do you game plan for
Well, they're deeper than Maryland, but what I
them? Yep.
will say is Maryland's got the bigs to match up. I don't know if they have the guards. I don't know if their guards are good enough to match up with.
Well, and I would say Maryland's guards have got to play better. They did not play well against Colorado State. And there's not many games this year. They've maybe individually struggled. I don't remember many Maryland games where all three of those guys for major parts of the game, you're kind of like, they're just not playing very well, and Rodney Rice got it going. He made a couple threes. But I mean, they really stayed in that game because of Queen and Reese. Those guys kept them in it. And Queen's shot is,
Were
that's
you okay?
major.
Were you surprised that they gave Derek Queen the ball facing up, driving to the basket for the
No,
final
because
play?
I think that it's one of those deals where he's more than capable, and you put him in space, and he's your best player. So it's like, all right, Derek, take us home. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was Gillespie. Granted, those guards weren't playing well. Queen,
You
and
just don't
I will
see a
say though,
guy.
but I will say with Queen, for a lot of that game, he was as frustrated visibly as I've seen him.
Yeah.
Colorado State did a nice job of trying to frustrate him, and he still kind of got his numbers. But no, I wasn't surprised. I think that putting the ball in your guys is the most talented. Give him the ball and get out of the way. And if you're in the middle of the floor, everybody's going to kind of be hugged up in that situation. You're going to have room to operate. And honestly, it
Travel,
was good defense. It was
travel
good
or no
defense.
travel. Travel or no
I
travel.
would have to, you know what? I live, I wouldn't have ever thought it was even in question. I would have to just because I'm not an official. I heard what Gene Steratore said, and with the kind of when the two hands on the ball, he said no. So I guess no.
I wouldn't have called it travel either. I wouldn't have called
Yeah, and I'm
it.
okay with that. Like, in
I think it's too
1985, it's
close.
probably a travel.
I
But
think it's too close at the
when
end
it
of the game.
was, and then when it was sped up, I never even thought it was in question
Yeah.
until I saw a replay after the game.
Yeah. All right. So the other elephant in the room here, as Maryland advances to the Sweet 16 and plays Florida, is the status of Kevin Willard. There's been a lot of talk, and rightfully so, that Kevin Willard is deciding whether to go to Villanova.
There's a job that's lingering open.
It's crazy. Which the longer it goes, so here's the kind of what's going on for people listening right now. Damon Evans, his AD, is leaving. He's going to SMU. Willard wants life a little bit easier to get things done
Well, and
at
before you
Maryland.
get there, he was very vocal in his Thursday press conference about some of his grievances.
Yeah.
Which,
I
you know
mean,
what? You have the most leverage you're ever going to have.
that's right. Get
So
it now.
you're
Get it now.
winning. You have a great team. If
Yep.
you really feel, and I kind of thought of this, when Matt Painter, because I was so close to it, when he almost went to Missouri, he got a lot of things that he felt the program needed
Yep.
when that went down. And I kind of feel like this is that inflection point for Maryland and
So
Kevin Willard.
Willard, um, it's interesting because it's not done yet, which leads a lot of people to speculate um, that maybe he's waiting till they get knocked out and then he's going to go to Villanova. The second school of thought here is he's waiting to see what Maryland does to up this
But
offer.
how does Maryland do that when their AD is kind of, on the
I
way
heard
out?
he's putting it together on the way out. I
So
heard
this
he's
is
still
like
there.
this
It's
is
not
his
like he
final.
took the job and left, immediately.
So
He's
this
still
is his
there.
final act as Maryland AD is
Correct.
he could
Yep.
solidify Willard. But why
Yes.
would Willard want to be there for an AD that he didn't like kind of do this with? I
We
feel
don't
like,
know.
well, I just, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all these coaches, when it's not their AD, feel like, well, is this guy going to bat for me? So why would he be inclined to want? Maybe that's part of this. He
That
doesn't.
is part of it.
Not
I think
inclined.
that is part of it. I think NIL plays in the Big East not having football. And you look at Villanova, who could have a $7 million revenue share next year, where Maryland, while they're not a football school at all, they still put resources into football, thinking they're a football school.
That's interesting, and I understand the logic, but boy, leaving the Big Ten or an SEC job for any other league is a gamble. And I don't know if it's a 3-year gamble, if it's an 8-year gamble, if it's a 14-year, but you know what I mean? The
Yes.
way this is trending, that is a gamble. It's just what is the timeline, and nobody really knows.
Yeah, I think for the foreseeable future, a lot of people feel like the Big East schools have an advantage over everybody right now because of the $20.5 million, rev share. And if you don't have to divvy that up to football, I mean, nobody's going to 20.5 for
But how
basketball.
is the Big East going to get that much if they don't have football? I thought part of the rev share is that football is such a moneymaker, and that
I
is
think it's 20.5 if you opt in, no matter what.
regardless.
No matter what. Yeah. Yeah. So they can go higher than most if they want to, because again, they're not sharing it with football, which takes up, normally about
Yeah,
70%. I think it's going to be the number for a lot of these
I
schools.
played in the wrong era.
Who's your pick in that game? Florida, Maryland. Who you picking?
You know what? I guess. Ooh, what did I pick? Who's my final four again? Hold on.
Just pick a damn team.
No, I know, but I'm trying to stay. I'm trying to stay consistent with who I picked in my bracket.
And then I don't know who you picked there.
Hold on. You
You
give
might
your
have picked
pick, and then
St.
I'll tell you.
John's. You might have picked St. John's.
Oh, I did. All right. Well, then I get to repick. Um, I'm gonna go with Maryland.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Maryland with their starting five, they're gonna play better than they did. I think they were a little bit nervous in Seattle, but they've gotten that out,
Okay.
and they're gonna play better.
All right. I'm taking Florida. I'm going to stick with my national title pick before the tournament began. But they gotta get things in gear. I think they can wear them down a little bit.
They
They've
definitely
got
could.
depth.
Yeah, they definitely
They rebound the hell out of the ball. They don't look as good as they don't look as like overwhelmingly big and strong. But I do think
Yeah, I remember
those-
you texted me when you were at the SEC tournament that you were like, "This is the varsity. Like this is big boy college basketball." And not just Florida, the other teams too.
yeah,
I'm like,
it
what?
is. It is. All right. The other matchup in the West is one that's near and dear to your heart. It is Texas Tech, Grant McCaslin against your guy, the team that you picked to go to the Final Four in the preseason that I was ripping on you all year, and you
Yeah,
had
I
no
should have rode
defense.
that thing. I should have rode this out.
Yeah, the Cinderella story. John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. They are wearing the slipper right now
Dang
in the
it.
Sweet 16, and
I
I'm
know.
sure he's gonna listen. He's gonna lean all the way into this. We shouldn't be here. He's gonna be like Lou Holtz this week.
I love it. I wish. Oh, sorry.
Look at
I
you.
wish that
What is this? What?
I was yawning. I'm sorry. It's
I'm
late.
boring
It's
you?
8:30.
Not that late.
No, I wish I had stayed the course, but I was not the fortitude was not there. It just wasn't. So
Well, you picked. Uh, hold on one sec.
I had St. John's. They let me down.
I assume you're sticking with Arkansas on this one.
Yeah, I'll write. You know what? Let's just go all the underdogs here in the West. I'll go back to my roots.
I'm
I'll
going with
go back.
Arkansas too. I'm actually
All
going
right.
with Arkansas too. I just think they're feeling good about themselves right now. Ever since Nelly Davis, they took him out of the corner when Boogie Flynn got hurt. I honestly think that has kind of changed their season because he looked lost before that, and I know he's
Mhm.
hurt too, but I think it was a combination of the two things. So I'm going to go with Arkansas as well.